And you can understand this, like, oh, I'm dealing with a narcissist. No matter what I say, I'm not going to win because the narcissist is all about themselves. What's up, guys? Welcome back to PsychopathEXposure. My name is Kira. Some people are asking me how to become immune to narcissists. So the question is it possible to have full immunity from the toxins, from the mind games, from the manipulation, from the narcissistic tactics that these predators, these psychopaths try to pull? Can you become immune to narcissists? How do you develop immunity from this disorder that's plaguing society and growing in numbers? I don't know if I'm immune to narcissists yet. It's probably a lifelong journey, but I definitely have developed some immunity, and I'm going to share with you how I did it and what my thought patterns are, or I guess not necessarily thought patterns, but the way I manage my thought patterns when it comes to that. Because the way a narcissist has power over you, there are many ways they can either be in your life causing problems, or they can be out of your life and yet they've left a booby trap or a virus in your mind, and now that starts to operate on its own. It's kind of like a cockroach. They lay their eggs and they leave, and then a few days later 30, 40 more hatch. So imagine like a cockroach, the narcissist, because they're cockroaches, they leave an egg in your brain. It's really dark, it's foggy in there, right? They leave an egg in there, and then they discard you, or you dump them, and whatever, and it's over. And you think, okay, good, my life is better. The narcissist is out of my life. And then the little hatchlings, right? They all come out, and they start messing with your brain. Now you're going through the withdrawals, you're trauma bonded, you have anxiety, you have PTSD, you have panic attacks, and you don't understand, like, why is that happening? Because I didn't understand, like, when my psychopath ex was out of my life, you would think things were better. It's like, finally, this demon is out of my life. And yeah, things were better. I wasn't dealing with her anymore. But all of a sudden, this PTSD shit that I didn't know anything about started taking over. And these panic attacks that I never had when she was with me started happening. All because I started discovering that I had really been dealing with a Terminator all this time. I was in a relationship with someone that was completely fake, someone that had orchestrated all this shit just to get what she wanted. And when I stopped delivering and I started calling her out on her bullshit, she completely shut down, took away all sorts of intimacy, just started playing games, started cheating blatantly. And then when I caught her, showed no remorse. No remorse whatsoever. And that's something I had never experienced, because when people do bad things to you, it doesn't mean they're bad people, but sometimes people do bad things. And then when they're confronted on it, and the person that got fucked, and they're confronting you on it, and you're like, shit, my bad, bro. Like, that wasn't, damn. And you reflect, and like, man, I'm sorry I did that, dude. That wasn't what I was trying to do, or I was mad and I did that and I took it too far. Damn, and you feel bad about it. But with a narcissist, with a psychopath, they don't care. They destroy you. They have no remorse. They don't care how you're feeling, what you're going through. They don't give a shit. They're not pretending not to give a shit. They don't give a shit. And they find people that give a shit weak. And the way they rationalize, the way a psychopath would look at someone that's crying over a breakup as pathetic. It's like, why are you crying over somebody that doesn't want you? And it's like, okay, logically that makes sense. Sometimes I can show a little tough love and I'll tell people, hey, stop crying over someone that cheated on you who's a piece of shit. Because sometimes people need that little push. But logically, you're human. And when someone that you put your trust in, someone that was your intimate partner, someone that you confided in, the last person in the planet you thought would do that to you. When that happens and you discover that, and you're going to feel it, and your nervous system is going to break down, and your brain is going to short circuit sometimes when you realize it was all a scam. So you're going to have a human reaction. You're going to have a human response to the narcissist betrayal. That's going to happen. The thing is, do you want to keep crying and being miserable for years after you've been discarded by a psychopath narcissist? Do you want to make that the story of your life? Or do you want to get better? And that's your choice. We all had that choice. My mentor told me, hey, look, I've listened to your story almost every day, and I will continue listening, and I will continue validating you every day for as long as you need, because I know, this is his words, I know how deep this trauma is. But if you want to move forward, you need to draw the line in the sand, and you got to make a deal with God or whatever you believe in, that from this day forward, every action I take is towards my healing. Every action I take, every thought I have is to serve the healing process, not to serve the narcissist anymore. You make that pact, you make that deal when you're ready. You draw that line in the sand when you're ready. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to validate you. I'm still going to talk with you. I'm still going to counsel you. I'm still going to mentor you. But you have to do your part. And that, I mean, I did not question that. That's exactly what I needed to hear. And maybe for me, because that's my personality, I like tough love. I like the truth. I don't care how brutal the truth is. I like the brutal truth. And he was right. I had gotten conditioned to just repeating the story, because that's what happens when you go through a psychopathic or a narcissist discard. You go through that. Your brain reaches this point and it's like, but this doesn't make sense. And then it goes back to the beginning. And it retells the whole story. It replays the tape. And then it gets to what you think is the end, but the end doesn't make sense. So it goes back and replays it again. And that gets annoying. And yet you can't stop it. You keep going, and you're ruminating, and you're ruminating, and you're ruminating. And it happens again, and it happens again. And before you know it, hours have passed, and you've triggered all sorts of emotions in your body, and you can't stop thinking about that shit. And you want to tell somebody, and you want to tell your friends, and most of your friends get tired of it, or they don't believe you, and they push you away, or you push them away. And yet you still want to talk about it, and you still want to say it, and you still want to go back and think. And it's time to go to bed. Time to go to bed. You know what would be a great idea right now? To replay the tape and hopefully fall asleep to that. And then you realize you can't fall asleep, because when you replay that tape, it creates so much panic and anxiety in your body that you're experiencing a fight or flight situation, and your cortisol levels are raising. How the hell can you relax and fall asleep? Your brain says, no, this is not the time to be vulnerable and fall asleep. This is the time for war. This is the time to run. This is the time to hide. And you keep ruminating, ruminating, ruminating. It's not easy. So how do we become immune to that? How do you get immunity from the narcissist, from the booby trap, from the virus that they have left in your mind, from the virus that they have implanted in your body, in your nervous system? How do you get immunity from that narcissist tactic? Because they all have that tactic. I don't think they know it. It's just in their nature to do. It's in their nature to plant that seed, that bug, that virus, and go off and leave. And then you blow up. You blow up. Well, you have to be able to, first of all, recognize the thought patterns that you're having. Recognize that, are these my thoughts, or are these thoughts warping, right? Are they being warped by this virus? Whose thoughts are these? Because these thoughts are not serving me. Replaying this tape that I already know, like, guys, you know your story. You know what you went through. You don't have to think about things. You lived it. You experienced it. You know what happened. But there's a little bit of dopamine that your brain is chasing when you replay the tape for some reason. And it's killing you, and yet you're getting dopamine from it. You have to recognize that's not cool. It's like eating a box of cookies, right? Tastes good. You look forward to it. Oh man, I can't wait to eat these cookies. And then it's making you fat. It's draining your energy. It's raising your cholesterol. It's killing you. It's making you lethargic. Diabetes, all sorts of shit, and you can't stop. And I know, because I used to eat a lot of cookies. But it's kind of like that. You're repeating a process. You're repeating a pattern of behavior that's killing you, and yet you think it's helping you, and you enjoy it somehow. But you tell everybody you can't stand it. You see, it's crazy, right? Yeah, I know it sounds crazy. Like, why would we do that to ourselves? So you have to be able to recognize and be like, hey, oh shit, that's what's going on. And the minute you get that awareness, it stops it temporarily. It stops it temporarily. Because now you're aware. You're aware that you're bigger than your thoughts. You're bigger. You're higher than that. Because you can think what you want to think. So if you can recognize, if you can have the thought and the awareness that right now you're ruminating, and this is happening like on autopilot, but you're aware of that, all of a sudden you have leverage. You have leverage. It's like they say in the 12-step program, you have to first admit that you have a problem. And that's the hardest step for a lot of people, is admitting that they even have a problem. Can you even admit that you're powerless over this virus that the narcissist left in your nervous system and your brain before they discarded you? Can you even admit that that's what's going on? Can you admit that? Can you see that? Or do you still think that the narcissist really loves you and they just need some space, and you're still in love with them? Yeah, because you would be in love with an abuser like that. You're not in love. You think you are, but you're not in love. You're just trauma bonded to your abuser. You're not in love. Being in love feels awesome, doesn't feel like shit. And right now you're feeling like shit. And I hope you feel better by the end of this video, so you can smash that like button when you're done. Or you can do it right now. I invite you to like the video right now. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. So developing that immunity is, number one, being able to recognize what's going on in your mind. And recognize that thoughts are just thoughts. And thoughts trigger emotions. So that's a pattern to look for. And if those thoughts are triggering emotions of fear and panic and disarray, then that means that there should be some opposite. The opposite of that is true. If you have thoughts of positive, thoughts of moving forward and being happy, thoughts of living a joyous and free life, whether you believe it or not, if you entertain the thought long enough, it's going to create emotions of joy, happiness, fulfillment. Because that's how it works. When we look forward to something that we love, we feel good. When we have nothing to look forward to, life gets kind of like stale and boring. It's like, oh, all I got to look forward to is going back to work tomorrow. And it's Monday. And it's this and it's that. Because we have 95% of the thoughts we have today are the same thoughts we had yesterday. And the day before and the day before. So we fall into this routine. But when you're going through a narcissistic discard and all you're thinking about is the betrayal and the cheating and you're replaying the tape, eventually you do this long enough, you do this for a few days, for a few weeks, and you're conditioned. You have developed a bad habit of ruminating now. Now the brain expects that you're going to do that again tomorrow. So when you look forward to tomorrow, the first thing that pops in your mind is like, oh, that's right. I'm going to struggle getting out of bed. I'm going to ruminate. I'm going to have a panic attack. I'm not going to be able to go to work. I'm going to be in the shower having conversations. The shampoo bottle is going to be cracking up. I'm going to be driving to work thinking, ruminating. I'm going to be having heart palpitations. And it's just going to be misery, 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 misery. Constantly checking my phone to see if the narcissist finally texts me back. Constantly checking my phone to see if anybody's texting me back. Going home knowing that I'm going to ruminate all night long. You see? Over and over and over again. No wonder you're depressed. No wonder I was depressed. But becoming immune to all this shit is just recognizing, hey, this really doesn't have any power. And when someone's being a fucking narcissistic asshole, and you can understand this, like, oh, I'm dealing with a narcissist. No matter what I say, I'm not going to win because the narcissist is all about themselves. The narcissist is not trying to better themselves in the same way that you are trying to better themselves. They're trying to develop their skills to become better manipulators. You're trying to develop your skills to be better social, to be kinder to people, to not let people walk all over you, to be strong, to be able to negotiate, but not manipulate. Not manipulate with, not to play with people's feelings. There's a difference there, okay? Because you have empathy, but a psychopath does not have empathy. If they have to step on you to get to a higher place, they will step on you. They're not going to lend a helping hand. Hey, let's figure out a way for both of us to climb this ladder. No, they're going to be like, oh, you're a stepping stone. Sorry, let me step on your head, and now I made it to the top, and you just fell to your death. Because they don't have any empathy. So when you know that that's who you're dealing with, when you understand that no matter what you say or do, this narcissist is going to gaslight you. Blatantly, they're going to tell you this color is red. They're going to tell you, no, it's not, it's blue. They're going to tell you it's blue. And you're like, but I know it's red. I can see it with my own eyes. No, they're telling you it's blue. And you're like, well, damn. Are they delusional? Damn, they sound like confident. Then you start to think, maybe I'm colorblind. Maybe they're right. Maybe my interpretation of red is actually blue, and when they're telling me it's blue, they're right. The narcissist is right. Holy shit. How about that? You just got gaslit all the way from here to Japan, and you don't even realize what just happened to you, and you just believe it. Now, you have to understand that's the way it's going to go with a narcissist. So you can't let that bother you. The minute you feel bothered by it, you have to understand, hey, I'm being bothered because I think this piece of shit, this disordered fuck, is human like me. And I think and I believe that they think and feel the same way that I do. As long as you do that, as long as you think the narcissist is equal to you when it comes to brain functions, you're going to suffer. You have to understand this is a disorder. It's a disorder. So if you're talking to someone that's schizophrenic and they're telling you, hey, there are three gorillas sitting here with us right now. Don't you see them? You know they're schizophrenic. You know they see shit and they spaz out. Are you going to get into an argument with them? Like, really? Are you going to argue with them and prove to them that, no, there aren't any gorillas in the room? There's a pink elephant, but there aren't any gorillas. Are you going to do that? Because if you do that, maybe you both belong in the psych ward, right? But you're not going to do that because you understand, hey, this person's crazy. Just ignore him. Don't let him get to you. And that's how you have to think when it comes to narcissists. You have to just understand and say, oh, that's what I'm dealing with. Got it. I see it. Okay. No matter what you say and do from this moment on, it doesn't bother me. Okay? Because we get frustrated with our friends, with our families, with strangers on the internet when when you don't share opinions, right? We all we all like to, we all like for our opinions to be shared by others too, right? But remember, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Not everybody's going to hold the same opinion. There's people see things their own way, right? But you know you're talking to a human. You can have a conversation, you can have a debate, and you know you're talking to a human on the other side that even though they see things this way, they can see your point and be like, okay, I can see that point, but you know what? That doesn't work for me because in my life, in my lifestyle, in my history, in my upbringing, this is how we did it, and this is how I think things should be. I can see why you think that should be that way. I think you're from another planet for thinking that way, but at the same time, you're making valid points and it works for you. And that's why we're not going to come to an agreement. That's cool, fine, weirdo, but that's fine, but that's cool. That's part of the banter, right? But when you're talking to a narcissist and it's like they are so delusional and they actually believe their own lies and they're blatantly lying, they're blatantly gaslighting. This is not about a difference of opinion. They are blatantly lying and gaslighting. You can't gaslight facts, ladies and gentlemen. And the narcissist will do that. You will have text documents, you will have email evidence that they typed, and they will gaslight and tell you that that wasn't them, they didn't do that, they do not recall doing that, somebody hacked their phone, somebody else did, the AI, the artificial intelligence must have sent you that because I didn't do that. That's what a narcissist, that's what a psychopath will do. If you get mad, if you let that ruin your day, you have not fully comprehended the disorder yet. And I'm not saying that you have to understand it in the way that a psychologist, scholar, graduate understands it. Unless that's what you're trying to become, you don't need to understand it at that level. We're talking about basic human survival, day-to-day survival here. We're not all trying to be psychologists. Basic human survival. Understand. You're dealing with somebody like that. It's like you're dealing with a child. A 3-4-year-old child that has no life experience. Are you going to let that kid really disrupt your nervous system? Sure, they're annoying. They find pleasure in being annoying because they're little brats. That's what they are. If they actually get under your skin, they have won. You lost to a 4-year-old. How does that feel? Feels pretty shitty, right? That a 4-year-old got under your skin. You have to be better than that. It's just a kid. It's just a kid. It doesn't have any life experience. It doesn't know. It doesn't know. It forms its own opinions based on the stimulation it's getting at the moment. It's learning shit. It's learning how to manipulate too, because kids learn how to manipulate the parents. But you can't let them get under their skin. Like, you're really going to have an argument with a 4-year-old about shit that he or she doesn't even understand? And yet, how many times did we do that with our narcissist or with our narcissist ex? We gave them the power. We let them make decisions on things they had no clue about. But they were, what were they? Good gaslighters, good manipulators, good. They were great salespeople is what they were, really. Great scammers. Once you know this shit, and I mean know it, not just say you know it, I mean know it when you really grasp it, then you develop some immunity to narcissists. You can see it, and at that moment it's like, that's what they are. I have no expectations moving forward. I'm not going to trust this person. I know better. If I do and I get burned, I can't blame anybody but myself. And even in that case alone, in a way, that's immunity. Because you recognize that you knew who you were dealing with, you still did business with them, or you still made plans with them. They let you down as you knew they were fully capable of doing, and you're owning your decision. You took a risk, you knew better, you still took that risk, you got burned. It's your fault, right? That's it. You're not going to make a big spectacle about it. You're not going to create a smear campaign about it. It's your fault because you knew better and you still went. So when you accept shit, when you accept shit and you take responsibility, things change, don't they? What looked like a problem, now it's an opportunity. Right? It's an opportunity for growth, for feedback. It's no longer failure, it's feedback. So if it's no longer failure, you didn't lose. You see? So you're immune. Because for a victim, for a true victim of a narcissist, it feels like the end of the world. The rock bottom, I can tell you, that rock bottom, after a discard, after realizing what they really were doing, it's horrible. And it's hard at that moment to accept any type of responsibility. And what you need at that point is validation. What you need at that point is education about who your partner was, what type of person they were, what type of disorder they had or have. But as you grow, as you heal, and you understand it, and you can see the patterns, and you can see the red flags, like, okay, I get it. And if you happen to step on a landmine, well, fucking narcissists, that's what they do. They leave landmines. They leave landmines. But are you going to go and try and get revenge on somebody that has no empathy? On somebody that's basically a 4-year-old? No, right? No. When you really get it, you're not going to do it. I wanted to get revenge. Thank God I met my mentor, because I would have been in a lot of trouble. But then I realized, wait a second, the same energy that I'm going to put into getting vengeance on this loser, I could invest this in myself and rebuild myself. And that's what I did. And that's what I help hundreds of people do in my coaching program. If you want to be a part of that, don't hesitate. I'm telling you right now, don't hesitate. I couldn't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. So I don't know why you think you can do it alone. If you can, good. But if you need help, if you want someone in your corner, I urge you to check out the link below in the description of the video and see if we're a good fit. Not everybody's a good fit for my program, and that's cool. But if you are, I would love to work with you. I would love to help you get out of hell and workshop this shit together. Because let me tell you, staying in that madness, it doesn't get any better, guys. If you stay in that chaotic circus and you think that it's just gonna get better one day, you have no idea what you're really in. You have no idea how bad these psychopathic marriages, these narcissistic entanglements can get. All right, so that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you're having an awesome 4th of July, celebrating Independence Day. Hopefully you're independent from the narcissist at this point. But yeah, be safe out there with your firecrackers, and I will see you in the next video. My name is Kira. This is Psychopath Exposure. Go get it.